Hello everyone, welcome to this tapping video. Tapping on the fear of taking risks. And as we start this off, I want you to just start tapping. I'm going to tap through the entire thing unless I tell you otherwise. There will be some times to break and just kind of check in with the body, but as I'm giving a little bit of a preamble here, I wanted to just get the whole energy thing going. I've had a lot of experience with taking risks and avoiding taking risks. You know, life is kind of like that. We want to stay safe. We want to make sure that every decision we make is guaranteed the outcome we want it to have. But of course, there's no way you can actually have that guarantee. And the more you want that guarantee, the less willing we are to take a risk, even a calculated, educated risk. You know, that business you decide not to start. Oh, what if it doesn't work? Or that. There's no such thing as life without risk. Orville Wright was once asked, in the beginning of early flight, they didn't know how to fly. They got the plane to fly, but they didn't know how to fly the plane. It was very unstable. It couldn't do much, couldn't go very high. They broke bones learning how to actually fly and continue to improve the airplane. It was a good 3 years after they had finally flown that it got to the point where you could use it for anything other than a novelty. And Orville was once asked, isn't flying dangerous? Which of course it is. And he says, safe is sitting on the fence watching life go by. He was willing to take the risk. But we all have this fear about taking a risk. And you know what? It's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's not that somehow, you're risk averse, right? Our life, every decision we make in our life is always an inner tennis match between our desire for greater freedom and abundance and fun and intimacy, and our fear of getting hurt, our fear of getting rejected, our fear of losing. It is forever like this. It's between freedom and safety. Freedom and safety. And simply depending on how you have been conditioned in life, you're going to favor one side of it over the other. So what I wanted to do is to tap on that there's a reasonable there's a reasonable desire to be safe. Right? But if it becomes too much, if it becomes, it's got to be perfectly safe, we risk losing out on all sorts of opportunities, because everything in life is an opportunity. Everything. Deciding what school to go to what job to have, start a business. Asking somebody out on a date is risky, right? We don't think of it in those terms, but we all have our threshold. And while we don't want to fall into the realm of the foolhardy, we also want to have the courage to take some calculated risks, knowing it may not work. So let's do some tapping on that right now. Let's start on the karate chop point. We'll do a little traditional EFT here. And the way I do it is that I always start by just taking the extreme as an assumption, right? Rather than saying, well, where am I in the thing? Am I real risk averse or am I foolhardy? Rather than trying to figure out where on that continuum we are, and we're all somewhere on there. Let's just start at the extreme and work our way up, right? So, follow me along. Even though I'm totally risk adverse, I would love if every decision I made was guaranteed to work. In other words, no risk whatsoever. I deeply and completely accept that, yes, I do feel that way. But I am open to more freedom. So even though I would prefer to never have any risk, have the Midas touch, everything I did worked, I recognize that that's not possible. And I'm open to the possibility that I can find a very comfortable and progressive balance point. And even if I don't, I love myself anyway. So even though I wish everything worked out exactly the way I wanted, and even though I know that that's not possible, I totally accept this ambiguity. And I'm open to the possibility that I can find a happy medium between freedom and safety. All right, let's tap through the points. Oh my God, I don't want to take the risk. What if it all goes south? What if I look like an idiot? What if I lose my nest egg? What if the whole world explodes? What if birds stop chirping and people stop falling in love? All because I made a mistake. I really don't want to make any mistakes. They're very threatening. I can lose my money. I can be humiliated. I'm afraid of making mistakes. And I totally accept I feel this fear. Of course I don't want to make a blunder. Of course I don't want to be rejected. Of course I don't want to be humiliated. Of course I don't want to lose all my money. Nobody wants to do that. But I do recognize there's a little bit of risk in life. I walk across the street assuming I'm not going to get hit. But I could. I go to work each day. I assume I'm not going to get fired. But I could. I recognize that there's risks in life. And that maybe I've been trying to be too safe. Maybe I've been trying to guarantee safety where I can't guarantee it. And thus limiting myself. I'm really open to the possibility that I can be open to possibilities. That something inside of me knows and can assess a risk intelligently and wisely. I'm open to the possibility that there's an innate wisdom in me that really wants some new adventures and knows how to do it safely at the same time. All right, stop and take a nice breath and just kind of check in. Even think about something that maybe you've wanted to do, but I don't know, that you've been kind of waffling on. Now, it's really important. I'm not trying to push you into being, oh yes, I'm gonna take the risk. It's not like that, because you have to come to it here. If you come to it here, There's a confidence and a courage behind it. So don't let anybody tell you what you're supposed to do. But also be willing to kind of step outside your own comfort zone. This is also a tapping point, by the way. as I'm doing that, this is actually another point you can tap on, although it's not very common. All right, let's tap again. Let's just going to start tapping through the points. I hereby release and let go of all of my emotional and psychological and energetic attachments to playing it safe, to avoiding looking foolhardy. And I'm redirecting all of that energy into its natural channels of courage, of creativity, of wise discernment, the power to actually know, and to act even when I don't know the complete picture. I recognize that I can't possibly know the whole picture. The best laid plans of mice and men. Life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. All we can do is walk in the direction we see, guided by our deepest desires and aspirations. And an inner wisdom that says yes, or no, don't do it. And I'm opening my whole nervous system now to that yes or no, not merely being an old habit, not being merely convention, the way I've always done it, the way my family always did it, fear of how I'll look, focused more on the potential loss than the potential gain. What I really want is to be completely in my life, to feel the juice of life. Not necessarily jumping out of a helicopter on skis, but certainly willing to take some chances. Willing to move towards things I believe in. Willing to make sacrifices for things that are important to me. Even knowing they may not work out. I recognize that there are things that are important to me, and I've been denying myself. I've been shrinking back from my own deepest sense of what's important. Again, I have no interest in being foolhardy, but I really want to know what I want. What matters to me? What I find valuable? And then find the inner resources and inner courage to act on that. I'm allowing all of my innate wisdom and courage to be released. Released from the past, release from unnecessary worry, and to value myself. Yes, I can make mistakes. And I hereby disassociate all of the emotional connections between making a mistake and somehow being an incompetent dote. I allow myself to choose. All right, take a deep breath. And close your eyes for a second. And say, what if there was a way to achieve my heart's desire that was safe enough? Would I be willing to take some risk? Now tap with me. Safe enough. I'm open to finding that balance point. That beautiful, wonderful, harmonious middle. Between not moving at all, stuck where I am, and foolhardy or impetuous. Those are the extremes. And I've done both. So of course my nervous system wants to keep me safe. But what is safe enough? My nervous system can't determine that. It's purely reactive. It'll always err on the side of safety. And that keeps me small. That keeps me shut down. In fact, that's inhibited all sorts of things in my life. And of course, the best solution to not being foolhardy is to never take a risk. But I now recognize that that doesn't work. I don't want to be that safe. Perfectly safe is pretty much dead. I'm open to finding the middle way. I'm open to learning through experience and life exactly where that balancing point is. I acknowledge that nobody can tell me. They can only point the way to me discovering myself. So I'm now instructing my nervous system to open up and take a look. You know how to shut me down. You know how to remain safe. So there's really no danger in pushing that boundary a little bit, just to see what we find. If it's foolhardy, shut me down. But if it's safe enough, I want to grow. I want to expand. Thank you for taking such good care of me, being so loyal. Thank you. I love you. Take a deep breath. And just notice everything I do. I'm never forcing anything. I'm never trying to push anything. This is the way I do EFT. It's the way I teach EFT. It is a opening up of the whole energy system, which has been contained within the way we've been conditioned. And it doesn't want to step outside of that conditioning. It has to be invited to see that the world may be safer than we think it is, and therefore there's more opportunity available to us than we can even see, because the energy system simply won't let you see it. This is an invitation to kind of open up that internal visionary. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you feel more open, more willing to consider possibilities you may have never considered before, and that those possibilities could become realities. Thank you all. Namaste.